Hello, greetings to you all. Welcome to my channel, my Noahide family. I just want to remind everyone that the Australian federal elections are looming very close. In fact, they will be held 10 days from the date of this video being published today. So the elections are May 21st in Australia. That's a Saturday, and I urge all Australians or citizens of Australia eligible to vote that they should be very careful what you vote for. And I would like you all, if you haven't seen my previous video last week, I've put a link in the description box below where you need to go back and watch that, because it's all about when Noahides vote, and it is in direct relation to our elections coming up in Australia on the 21st of May this year. So we need to make our votes count. We need to vote on the foundation of religious freedoms, of freedom of speech and freedom of thought. And in my last or previous video, I showed you a pamphlet which I will show you again shortly. Now, the thing that we need to realise is that once we start eroding away our freedom of thought, speech and religion, and it is being eroded away, we haven't got a leg to stand on in Australia. So we need to be very, very careful what we are voting in this election. Now, just to refresh your memories, or for those who haven't seen the previous video, there are only three minor parties, political parties in Australia, who actually have tried to defend the freedom of thought, speech and religion for Australians. Now, these minor parties, I will name them, and they are on this pamphlet that I'm holding up. So there are three minor parties, these here, and they are One Nation, the other one is the Liberal Democrats, and the third one is the United Australia Party. So there they are, 1, 2, 3. Now, they have actually made statements that they will defend our rights to freedom of speech, freedom of thought and freedom of religion. And that covers a whole host of things like our freedom to exercise parental rights and control. And this brochure is very well produced and anyone can read it. It's written in a beautiful language. And if you would like a copy of this, please email me, and that is in the description box below, and I will send you off a copy of this pamphlet which you can then forward on to your other friends and family or print out yourself. You're free to do that. I invite you to do that. So I'm not going to go through everything on this pamphlet again because my previous video from last week describes it. The purpose of this video is just to jog your memory. The elections are coming up soon. So those three minor parties thus far are the only parties that give us any indication that they will defend our rights of speech, thought and religion. Now, the major parties or political parties have done nothing. They've not convinced me at all that they're defending our rights to thought, speech and religion, parental control of our children. No. The Labor, the Libs and the Greens have done nothing. Nothing to convince me to vote for them, put it that way. Now, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. That is not my intention here. So please don't try to assume you know what my political leanings are, because you don't. In the past, I have never voted for a minor party. But I can tell you now, this year, I will be. So no more good times for the big parties that have been riding on my vote, and I'm sure votes from other people who have been faithful to a particular genre of politics. So those days are now gone. Good old days are gone. You can't count on my vote now on some parties. So I really want you to remember to watch my previous video. The description again is in the link is in the description box below, along with my email, whereby you can have a copy of this email free of charge. There's no cost. You can pass this on to whoever you wish, as many times as you wish. It has a lot of information in it. So you can request, send me an email requesting that pamphlet, and I'll happily email it through to you. So don't waste your vote this election year. This is a federal election. It is important. Don't waste your vote. Remember that any erosion of our rights to freedom of religion, speech, thought, parental rights, etc., anything that's eroded is wrong. That erosion has to stop, and it's happening at the moment. So those parties that are purporting to this, creating loopholes where children can undergo life-changing operations, sex change operations, for example, or leading into them without parental consent. And we're talking about minors. We're not talking about 16 or 17-year-olds here. We're talking about children younger than that. The world has gone crazy. So common sense has to prevail, and that is where you can do your part by making sure this year when you vote in Australia that you vote with your conscience and your mind. Vote with your common sense, your wish to retain freedoms, etc. So any erosion of those rights, freedom of religion, thought and speech, are not to be tolerated, no longer tolerated in our country, Australia. So those political parties who are not going out to bat for those things, for freedom of religion, thought, speech and parental rights, don't count on my vote, and there'll be a lot of other people that won't vote you in either. So we must vote out those people that are not doing anything to defend us on the 21st of May this year. And we need to remember or take note of any party that is prepared to defend our freedom of religion, thought and speech. And one of those parties will be lucky enough to attract my vote and the vote of some other people. And mind you, we will, even when we vote for you, we will be sitting on your coattails making sure you do your job too. No easy rides for politicians now. If you're going to put, you're going to have to put your money where your mouth is, so to speak. So please, I ask all Australians, all consciously thinking Australians, to think about what you are voting in. Think about it. The party you're voting for, what are going to be the consequences for your rights? Please go to the description box, follow the links I've put in there. In the meantime, please take care, God bless, and vote correctly.